Hey, what's up guys, it's Elastic Spidey here, and in today's video we have a Moskva replay. Now, as you may notice, if you are very observant, this is not me, Sneaky, or Puddin'. This is actually a replay from Qckslvrslash, and he is playing with some of his clanmates from the clan OPG. We've got one, Evan, in a Yamato, DG Pitbull in his Minotaur, and of course Qckslvrslash in his Moskva. Now, if you're pretty new to our channel, you probably wouldn't be in the loop, so to say. But we have featured some of Qckslvrslash's games before. We did some collaboration, and we kind of didn't do one for a while. But now we're doing one again, and this time I hope you guys really do enjoy it. I believe that there is also one of Sneaky's replays that is going up around the same time, 6 a.m. Eastern, on Qckslvrslash's channel. I'll leave a link in the description so you can go check him out, because he is a very good player and he is also a pretty good content creator as well. So, feel free to check him out. But either way, we have a Moskva game, and another thing you might notice if you are very observant is we're actually running Hydro. And now, I've kind of made this mistake a few times when running something like the Zao, where I was playing clan battles a lot, or clan wars, whatever you want to call it, and then I just completely forgot to switch to defensive fire. So I don't know if that's what Quick is doing here, or if he just likes to run Hydro. The somewhat carrier-starved matchmaking we have on the NA server at tier 10, you see a few midways here and there. It does make some sort of sense. However, I'm also kind of considering the fact that since he is divisioned up with the midway, or Minotaur rather, I can see why Hydro could be useful. Rotating Hydros could be somewhat effective as well. Get an early radar on the Yuan Yang, and he goes down. We end up taking a torp, but that's okay. Tashkent is rushing us and also the Shimakaze, but he's going to die very quickly here, especially the Minotaur, and he gets his second kill of the game, DG Pitbull. So Montana here, looking pretty good. Probably going to set a fire first. Yep, there we go. And I wouldn't be surprised if we switched to AP here. Something that I would probably end up doing, because Montana has a good amount of 32mm plating on it. So when you do fire AP, you can get some very nice pens. You can also get some very nice pens with high explosive as well. But of course, once you already have a fire, then the amount of damage that you could potentially get could drop off slightly, or it could increase if you are firing AP rather than HE, but that's all we're talking about very, very small margins here. Either way, we're going to be continuously shooting at this Montana. Now, we did see this Montana take some torpedoes. We don't know if he's got flooding, but it is pretty safe to assume that since I believe he took two, maybe three torpedoes, that there's a good chance that he received a flooding. So unfortunately, we are not able to get a fire on him, but I'm sure we will be trying to get one very shortly here, if he lives long enough, that is. So it's actually quite interesting. They have pretty much all of their pushing power in terms of battleships on this side. So typically C is, I haven't seen C, the C objective, be a very likely cap, so to say, for the southern spawn. Usually the southern spawn would go down to B and hover around the, if you look at the minimap, H45, I45 area, and then a few enemies in D. That puts them in a good position to pretty much cover all of B and kind of stall C for the most part. But it's kind of interesting that they are doing a C push, and at this point, I mean, they've lost all their DDs, and, well, with us having a DD and, well, having a Minotaur and a Moskva division, this is going to be very, very brutal, and I wouldn't expect these guys to last very long at all. Hindenburg turning broadside, of course, we are going to use AP. Hindenburg makes a decent play here by turning in, doesn't take a lot of citadels, however, he is going to get some more sustained fire, so sometimes you may just have to risk it and make the turn, because, you know, you see, you eat damage one way or the other, so, but it looks like we are going to kill him there, which we do. Now, is the Yamato going to take a torpedo? That is the question. Doesn't look like he did, so just have to fire some HE. Moskva HE isn't... It's pretty good. I would say it's above average. As long as you're firing all 3 guns. When you're only firing 2 of your guns, then it does get pretty painful, because you'll usually only get 1 or 2 shell hits. And we can see right now what kind of build Quick is using. So I'm assuming we're running Concealment Expert. The only reason I say that is a pretty popular thing people do with the Moskva, and I can see there by 13.8 kilometers that he is indeed running that. AP salvo, a little bit high on that Hindenburg. You have to aim, I would recommend aiming at the front turrets, and ideally just at the waterline, as you see there. We still did get 4 overpens, but the citadel is really all that mattered. So as I was saying, the Quick does not look like he is running a full AA/secondary build like AFT and the range mod, since his AA range is only 5.7 kilometers at the longest distance. So of course, one of the things, if you are going to be considering this build, you do have to consider the carriers. And let me tell you, HE bombs or AP bombs from Midway do hurt immensely. And the Moskva does not have the best AA, but it also does not have the worst. So just something to keep in mind if you are kind of curious. Of course, the one thing that does have is a large HP pool, so it does kind of help to have that compensations. So, but I do expect him to be running the accuracy mod, and then obviously we can see he is running reload. I would assume also adrenaline rush, which is why he's probably not popping his heal at the moment. Now with they seem like they've been a long time, but the smoke changes somewhat recently. Moskva cannot sit in smoke anymore. As you can see, if I hit H to see my stats, when firing main battery, whereas in smoke, 12.7 kilometers. So we have to be 12.7 kilometers or farther to be able to shoot at a given target without being spotted. Get a wither on that Missouri, excuse me. Probably we're close to a arsonist, but I don't think we did enough fire damage to him. At this point, we're just going to be cutting this Yamato, doing some nice dodging here and there, get a fire on him. Now, something I would also consider, and I'm sure Quick knows this, but for all of you that maybe don't know this, if Quick was at maybe like sub 10, maybe sub 9 kilometers, you can actually aim right here on the Yamato. Oh, when Quick goes back into the zoom mode, I'll show you. If you shoot right about here, this little ascent right behind the turret is actually perfect. I could show you here, like right here. It's actually perfect. If you are sub 9 kilometers ish, you can actually get some very nice ass pens. The reason being is that the Yamato and a lot of the other tier 10 battleships like the Montana, Kurfürst somewhat, they have 32 mil plating on the ass and on the front end of their ships. So actually, when you shoot AP, you actually get normal pens. It's kind of the same thing as shooting the main belt. So just something to keep in mind. Like I said, if the Yamato is too angled, which he is a bit now, but when he does try and shoot his front two guns, you can do that and get some very, very nice pens like at these ranges. But of course, when you've got a Missouri that is doing quite a lot of damage to him, presumably with one salvo, then of course that does mitigate that option quite quickly. But we do get our arsonist that we probably should have earned on the Missouri. And now it's just damage farming on this poor Bismarck, who probably should not even be here. I will say good job on staying alive, Bismarck, but you won't be staying alive for long. So there's two ways to play the Moskva, and you've seen kind of both of them here. At the early game, it's a lot more sitting around and being patient, and that is something that is probably the most difficult thing to play or to do in a cruiser. Reason being is you don't want to push up too far too quickly, because you may not be able to get yourself out of that situation without receiving a large amount of damage. And so that's one thing you have to be careful of, is not being too aggressive. And if you are going to be aggressive, then you have to be very careful and cautious of your surroundings. And we can see some very, very nice AP salvos. And again, here, this would be a perfect example. We get our Kraken. If you can't hit that 32 main upper main belt armor, like we see here, up here, right there, and all along here, you can always aim at the bow. It will saturate a little bit quicker, but of course that is still an option that most people don't think of. So that is one, you're kind of just sitting and moving up slowly, moving backwards slowly, kind of this Yamato-esque play style. And that, I think, is good for some situations, in particular the early game. But for the rest of the game, you want to be moving and constantly, not necessarily kiting, because kiting in the Moskva isn't the most effective, but certainly being moving and moving your ship around, whether it be left or right, it is a very important aspect to the Moskva's playstyle, because it is not only just sit around a corner and use your two front guns, because you are extremely minimizing your DPM output. And that is actually the game. Alright guys, so looking at the post-battle results, we can see the UI is a bit shrink, so I'm assuming, Quick, you are using a nice 2K monitor. I am pretty jealous of you, but either way, you can correct me if you're wrong, or I am wrong, excuse me. But looking at this Moskva game, we ended up with nearly 600k credits, nearly 10k XP, and a nice 2k free XP. Obviously, we got a lot of medals: Arsonist, Confederate, Kraken, Wither, and High Caliber. I would say High Caliber and Confederate are pretty common in the Moskva. Wither not so much, at least in my end, but anyway, we ended up with 217,000 damage, 248 shell hits, 5 ships destroyed with the Kraken, only 1 Citadel, but a lot of fires. We can see that with the Wither, and 1 assisted base capture, and, well, 3 secondary battery hits for the lulz. Team score-wise, we are looking at 2399, pretty close, I would say. Our Minotaur friend Pitbull, he ended up with 2920, which was a very nice game. Evan and the Yamato didn't fare the best, but still above the average of our team for sure. So congrats to all of you for playing a very well thought out match. And detailed report: fires 82k, secondary battery hits 1700. That is again for the lulz. High explosive 101,000 and AP 31,000. We saw a little bit of good AP usage against cruisers and some of the battleships, specifically the Bismarck at the end there. 1.4, about 1.5 million potential damage shot our way, and well, you can see all the damage battleships we did. Nearly 82,000 damage to the Yamato, which was quite significant, and then around 30k 30K to the Montanas, and 31 to the Bismarck, and Missouri as well. Tier 10 with the premium camo, of course, we are walking away with 440,000 credits earned. And who said T10 CV or T10 economy in general was bad? I probably wouldn't say so. That is with premium. Without premium, 251. Again, still not that bad at all. The Commander XP is very nice. I bet we've got a 19-point captain on this guy. Well, that wraps up this replay. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, leave a like on this video, and also subscribe here, but also check out Quick's video, because like I said earlier, he is a very nice lad, and he does some amazing content. So, and one other short announcement. There is King of the Seas tomorrow. If you are watching this on its release date, King of the Seas, it's going to be streaming. I will try to get links and post them in this video's description. So if you guys are interested in that, you can also go on Twitch, twitch.tv, and look at the World of Warships categories and see some very competitive gameplay. It is tier 10, so if you are interested in that, feel free to come along and watch some high tier competitive gameplay. That said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys later.